Hey everybody, we are back again for another video today, and as you can see, I am joined by a very, very special guest. The great Pearlo Wisdom is back on the channel. If you don't know, you all should know Pearlo by now, but if you don't, link to his channel will be down in the description. You'll definitely want to check that out. Great NHL content over there. Pearlo, we've got an exciting video today. I really want to thank you for coming on, and we're going to be talking about teams that we are most excited about to watch this upcoming season, which starts in just about a week, a little over a week away now from the start of the regular season. Thank you so much for coming on the video. Appreciate having you here.
Yeah, it's great that you took this topic too, because I am like 9 days excited. Like I'm so excited for the season to come up right now. I don't get anxious too often, but I'm pretty anxious for this to get going. It's going to be amazing, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think this is going to be a really exciting and fun NHL season this year. And with talk about exciting and fun, that's what we're going to talk about today. Some teams that we both or that we each think are going to be exciting teams to watch this year, and for various different reasons, whatever the reasons is, we want to really kind of focus on it, and we'll be watching closely this season. So we'll start with you. Any team that comes to mind when you think about someone that you're really excited to see what they look like this year?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got two for sure, and one of them is they're one of my favorite teams in the East is the Carolina Hurricanes, and I'd like to really just promote them because they don't get promoted enough. I love their one of the reasons why I'm excited is I love their owner and the things that they do, like the way they do things out of the box with the surge and all that kind of stuff. I hope they keep that up because I find that exciting. I find it fun and enjoyable to watch. But just the team on the ice this year is you've got Andrei Svetchnikov. It's been so fun to watch, and at 20 years old, to be able to score at the pace he was already able to do last year. What can this guy do this year in 56 games? Nothing would surprise me coming from this shot from this guy and the way he's played and how he's bulked up and how his game has evolved so fast. 24 goals in 68 games last year is a 20-year-old man, almost a point a game. I loved watching him. Every time he's on the ice, he draws your attention to him. And I could see him potting like a 40-goal pace this year. And so then when you consider the fact that he may not even be the best player on this team, when you Sebastian Aho, 23 years old, Selke nominee, could be a Selke nominee already at this young age, putting up a point a game almost already. And then Teravainen, we'll see if Niederreiter can get his head out of his butt. But Teravainen's a very underrated player in the league.
Yep.
So fun to watch. And that's everything you can say, like so much. That's what I can say about this team. Martin Nietzsche, so fun to watch. Warren Fogle, different type of game, but he drives hard to the net. You can't help but rooting for guys like that. And that's like that's their top nine pretty much. And then throw in Trocheck, a good little passing center, and Jordan Staal can still play. I mean, maybe falling off a little bit, but that top nine is going to be very exciting to watch. And of course, with defense, Dougie Hamilton coming back off that broken leg, it's going to be exciting to watch him be able to play doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. He's one, like analytics wise, he's one of the best in the league. Everybody knows that. But even if you're just watching him, the way he strides and the way he seems to be able to find open ice all the time, and just plays the game and does the little things. I love him. I absolutely love him. And Jacob Slavin, I could watch him all day. I could watch defensemen that play defense like that so effortlessly all day long. And so I'm really excited to see how that and some of their young guys coming up, how Brady Shea interacts into the lineup now that he's going to be on for a full year. Pesci's coming back. Love watching those hard-nosed defensive guys come off of injury and show everybody that they're still okay. So, and it's just going to be an exciting, high-scoring team. Even though I would like to see them get good goaltending, I like watching the games for Carolina because their goaltending's not that great. It's always a fun game to watch. So yeah, that Carolina would be would be probably, and also I just love Roddy Brindamore. I've
Yep.
loved him ever since he played. I think he's a great coach, and I'm excited to see how much he takes his coaching acumen to another level because I really think he can. He's up there to me, possibly reaching those points where he's like Barry Trotz-ish, Tortorella-ish. It looks like he's heading possibly towards that. I think it's going to be exciting to watch him do that.
Yeah, I completely agree with Carolina. I love that team. Over the past couple of years, they've really become one of my favorite teams in the league. Just loaded with so much talent up front and young talent with Aho and Svechnikov and Teravainen. And now they got Marty Nietzsche coming in. Looks like he could have a breakout season. And then they're just stacked on the back end with one of the absolute best defensive cores that there is in the NHL. This team, just the way they play, the young talent, the incredibly good young players, and how well they play together, which I think really speaks a lot towards Rod Brindamore and how he coaches this team. Carolina has just become such a favorite of mine, and I'm certainly excited to see them this season. And while I think we both have questions about their goaltending, I really do think that this is a team that could make a deep run and really show the league that they're for real and that this young talent is going to be keeping Carolina near the top of the standings for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. So what's your next one? I'm excited to find that out.
Yeah, along similar lines to the Carolina Hurricanes, my first one is the Vancouver Canucks. I am so high on this team. I think a lot higher than I think most people. Just Vancouver is gearing up to be a perennial contender in the Western Conference. And I guess in the North Division for this year, for the Western Conference most years. But they are a team that I think is a real threat. And they've got so much young talent up front with Pettersson and Besser and Horvat. JT Miller isn't exactly young anymore, but he had a phenomenal first season with the Canucks last year. They're loaded up front. They've got plenty of scoring. They've got Quinn Hughes on the back end leading that defense core. They added Nate Schmidt in a trade this offseason with Vegas, which they just robbed Vegas blind because of the salary cap. And they got Schmidt in there. And all the talk this offseason has been about they lost Markstrom. Oh, they lost Tanev. I don't think that's going to really matter at all with this team. First of all, they lost Markstrom, but they bring in Braden Holtby, who's won a Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. And Holtby probably isn't even, in my opinion, going to be the starter. Thatcher Demko is the goaltender now for the Vancouver Canucks. And after watching him at Boston College and seeing him progress through his pro career now, Thatcher Demko, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people with how good he is. I think he's going to be better than Jacob Markstrom, maybe as early as this season. Demko might be better than Jacob Markstrom this season. And then you have Holtby as a 1B guy who is a veteran cup winner who certainly can step in if the going gets rough and be a great number 2 goaltender in that tandem. I think they're going to be absolutely fine in goal. I don't think they're going to miss Tanev that much on the back end because Schmidt is a huge upgrade over Tanev. And they're still just absolutely loaded up front. I love this Canucks team. I think they're probably going to win the North Division, honestly. I think they're going to win the North Division this year. And I cannot wait to see what they look like this season. I think they're going to shock a lot of people with how good they are.
The parallels between you and I is just insane because I got Vancouver in the North too, and you're right. Like I get people saying, "Oh, come on, they lost," just saying things you said. But talk about exciting. We get to watch Quinn Hughes again. Quinn Hughes gets to go get a year older.
He's going to be even better. Like, do people not realize that he's going to be even better?
Yeah, this guy's off the chain, man. I haven't seen. There's not too many players I've ever seen to be able to play all the ice like Quinn Hughes can. It is incredible. I hate to put a name to it, but it's almost Bobby Orrish. It's crazy how much he can play all over the ice and never seem to be out of position at the same time. Amazing defenseman. And I'm with you with Demko. I've made whispers of the possibility that, I mean, if he plays like he did in the playoffs, and I haven't watched him like you have in Boston College, but it even makes me more comfortable in saying that his improvement has been very impressive. And if he plays like he did in the playoffs in the regular season, that guy could win the Vezina this year.
Yeah.
This year. Like, and if he plays like that, the rest of this team is plenty good enough to win the North. And exciting. What's Peterson going to be this year? Like in 56 games? I don't even want to put a number to what
he has a chance for 70 points in 56 games easily.
Yeah. I get slammed by my Oilers fans where I say I don't think Peterson's that much less than McDavid, boys and girls. I do think McDavid has aspects of him that will be best ever, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But Peterson has a shot that's just blow your mind from the hash marks in the top end corners. He's like Gretzky-ish in the way in style. Mm-hmm. and the way he's able to find people on the ice and just be in the right place. Maybe Mike Bossy-ish with this shot and the way he can score from just about anywhere. Like he is. I could see him being second in scoring this year.
Yeah, and imagine if Besser gets going. Like Besser had a decent year, but he didn't have a great season last year, and he's had some injury troubles. Imagine if he plays a full season and really gets going. Yeah. And can be the player that he can be.
Like how fun is he? Bo Horvat?
Horvat's underrated. He's so underrated.
So underrated. Absolutely Selke level type defense and offense. Like again, we talk about that. Every cup, pretty much every cup team has a guy like Bo Horvat. Mm-hmm. And they're hard to find, and he's got it. JT Miller comes in and slams it from Tampa Bay. I don't know. I don't know what people don't see in this team. If Jake Virtanen can get in shape, because I mean he hasn't been taking good care of himself that way. It's been well known. But if he gets in shape, Adam Gaudette, I'm a huge fan of Adam Gaudette. I think he's misplaced in position. They just can't find a spot for him. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Vancouver's going to be an exciting team to watch. It's almost unfortunate that they're in the North Division where it's going to be a grind out every day to game and through the season. It's going to be interesting to see how much they got left. Any team in that division, how much they have left come playoff time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the first 2 rounds of the playoffs are within division as well. That's going to be an absolute dogfight up north there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another team that comes to mind for you when it comes to what you're really excited to see this year?
I really am high on it. We talked about this when we talked about like teams that are underdogs or whatever, are not thought of to make it this year. I said I thought the New York Rangers was that team, and I'm very excited about this team. It's hard not to get excited to see how young players are going to be, and the Rangers are just jam-packed full of those players. Yeah, Capo Caco. I don't know. People are so judged way too harshly on these kids about how they did. I think getting 23 points in the NHL as an 18-year-old is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty darn good. And does he have to work on his defensive part of the game? Sure. But he's big, strong. He showed he belonged already at 18 years old. From what I understand, they're going to try him right on the top line this year. They're putting him right up there on the top line. Zibanejad's apparently a little injured at first. I don't know exactly what that's all. Injured or something going on with him right now. So he's not in training camp, but apparently he'll be in there at the time. Watching Panarin and Z again together, that was just electric. Especially at the end of last year before they got into the playoffs, they were mowing everybody down. And of course, the number 1 pick, right?
Lafreniere.
What's this kid going to be like at 19 years old? From what I see him from what I saw him at the World Juniors before, and what I watched, I don't think it's going to be much of a transition for him to play. Um, he reminds me of a McKinnon if McKinnon played the wing.
Yep.
So maybe not quite to that level, but he has that type of game that just never let up, fast, does everything at high speed, huge intensity. He's going to be extremely fun to watch. I think Philip Heidel's going to take a step up this year, and I really like his game. He has come a long way from the skinny kid that first came up and had a lot of flash, but needed to work on all parts of his game. I think he has worked on all parts of his game. I think you're going to see a big jump in Heidel's game this year, and then Jacob Trouba making a rebound this year. Can he make a rebound? And where can Adam Fox go from where he did last year? Because I think he could. He was in the conversation as the best young player defenseman in the league last year, and analytics wise, and the way he was used last year, he was actually used in more difficult situations than Quinn Hughes and Makar last year. So I'm excited to see what he does, and I am a massive supporter of Ryan Lindgren.
Yes.
I am a big supporter of this guy. I think he'll be playing in their top two as soon as this year, maybe even with Trouba. He's just come leaps and bounds every single year. I'm really excited. I love watching guys like him play. He's, again, like Slavens. He's got that Slavin type game, but even more physical.
He's very physical, yes.
Yeah, and a more physical version of Slavin. Sign me up, man. I'll watch that all game. And then, of course, the kid that blew everybody away last year, Igor Shesterkin.
Yep.
I am like so pumped to see this kid keep on flying like he was last year in the playoffs. Goaltenders are not in the playoffs, but in the regular season playoffs, the whole team didn't play well in front of him. But I still think he got hurt. That's right. It was Lundqvist. Yeah, he got hurt. So we'll see how he bounces back. I think he's going to bounce back just fine. That kid was insane. Nothing in there looked like the puck was just hitting him. We see guys where the puck's just hitting them well or whatever, but that didn't look like it to me. He looked like he was holding up a team last year quite a few games. So I don't think that's going to change. And I am super excited for this team. I'm probably leaving some young guys out coming up here off the top of my head. Keandre Miller has been fun to watch. So far, he could make it up there that year. That's going to be very interesting to see. I hear Vitaly Kravtsov is going to stay in the K, which is too bad, because I was really excited to see what he could bring to that team. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped for this team, man. I didn't even mention one of my favorite players that I couldn't believe that Winnipeg let him go is Brandon Lemieux. I just love Brandon Lemieux. I think his offensive upside is still much higher yet. I think he can be a good 30, 40-point guy playing third line, and I don't think he has to be a fourth liner.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are definitely a team that comes to mind for most hockey fans when talking about this topic, and just I think a lot of people are excited to see the Rangers. It's going to be interesting to see, where they finish this year. They're in a very difficult East Division, and they're a very young team. And I feel like the Rangers are one of those teams that could end up finishing way higher than people think, or might still be a year away. It's going to depend a lot on these young players. But there's no doubt there's an incredible amount of talent there in New York. And I think a lot of how good they are this season is going to depend a lot on how Shesterkin does in goal. If Shesterkin comes in and plays like he did last season, the Rangers should certainly be in the playoffs. They should if he comes in and plays at that lights out level and is looking like a legitimate star goaltender, then the Rangers are going to make the playoffs. If he has a little bit of a step back, maybe, then you'll see how they do up front. I'm not sure what's going on with Zibanejad. Hopefully he's back for the beginning of the season, because Zibanejad's a huge part of this team. But you mentioned one guy in particular that I want to touch on, and that is Adam Fox, because I don't think that Adam Fox gets the credit around the league that he should. All the talk last year was Makar and Hughes, Makar and Hughes, Makar and Hughes, and rightfully so, because those two are unbelievably good young defensemen. But Adam Fox is right there with them. He
Mhm.
is not far behind Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar. And he's a guy who I think is going to be a number one defenseman for this team. And I know they gave Trouba a big contract. They kind of slotted him into that number one spot. I think Trouba eventually is going down to your second pair. And I think Adam Fox is going to be your number one defenseman. And he's been so good in such a limited amount of time that we've seen him for the Rangers. I cannot wait to see what he looks like this season with another year under his belt and another year of development.
Yeah, it's so true. I could see Adam Fox and Ryan Lindgren stealing those top two spots as soon as this year.
Yeah,
I
and then
could, I
Trouba
could.
and D'Angelo would be your second pair.
Pretty darn good second pair.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Another one of my favorite things about this Rangers team is they're tough. This is
yeah.
not a team you're going to push around. And you know me, I'm a big fan of physical, old school style hockey. And this Rangers team, a lot of times when you see like the young, up and coming, flashy teams, they're all speed and skill, and then they're severely lacking in the grit department, and that comes back to bite them. This Rangers team is not lacking in the grit department. I mean, you've got Brendan Lemieux, who's one of the toughest kids in the league in your bottom six right now. And when you look throughout that lineup, I mean, even some of their better players, like Chris Kreider, is not a guy that you're going to push around.
Nope.
Chris Kreider's a physical player. Jacob Trouba is a physical defenseman. Tony D'Angelo he has that chip on his shoulder and plays with that edge. And then Ryan Lindgren, as we've seen, is a very, very physical young defenseman. So this is a team that not only has the speed and the skill to put up a ton of goals and have all the flash that you want with an offensive team, but they've got a gritty, tough lineup as well, who is not going to be pushed around and beat up by other teams.
Yeah, we didn't even mention Julian Gauthier.
Yeah.
Like
The,
he's a big boy, and he plays big. He's
yep.
tough. He's a good old Quebec Canadian, and I used to play when I played hockey. We used to do tournaments in Quebec. They
Mm-hmm.
love to fight there in Quebec. I'll tell you that right now. It's like their favorite thing to do. It's almost like you have a game and you fight at the end, and it's
Yeah.
just guaranteed. And Capo Caco, I also think is a lot tougher than European players. You never think of it that way, but he's big, he's strong, he doesn't back down from anyone. Like I like him as well.
Yeah, I think they're a team that is gonna not, you're not gonna go into Madison Square Garden and beat that team up. They're gonna be right there with the Capitals and the Bruins and the Flyers and the other teams that can play. The Islanders, certainly. Man, Rangers Islanders games this year, those are
Yeah.
gonna be something else for
Yep.
sure.
I agree totally. So anyways, you got one more team, right?
Yeah, one more for me. It is almost blasphemous to say this being a Bruins fan, but it's the Montreal Canadiens. I cannot wait to see Montreal this year, and it's for kind of a different reason, but it's because I have real expectations for this team for the first time in a couple of years, and they've made so many moves this offseason. I cannot wait to see what happens. Like, I feel like this team is either going to be way up near the top of the league or they're going to fall completely flat on their face. But right now, I'm leaning towards them being near the top of the league. Looking at that lineup and how deep it is now, and I mean, even adding a guy like Corey Perry to your wings, I mean, they are deep up front now. You've got Carey Price in goal. And in a 56 game season with a real backup goalie now and Jake Allen, who can take some of that pressure off of Carey Price so he doesn't have to play every single night, I think that shortened season might be just what the doctor ordered for a goaltender like Carey Price, who has been overworked over the past number of years. We saw how good he was in the playoffs last year, where he was just unbelievable against Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Um, I think you could see Vezina level Carey Price come back this year in a shortened year where he won't have to play 50 plus games. You could see Vezina level Carey Price back again this year. They added Toffoli up front. They added Josh Anderson up front. We saw what Nick Suzuki did last year. He's going to be another year developed and another year better. I think Kotkaniemi is going to have a breakout season this year. I think Suzuki's year was last year. Kotkaniemi is going to really take a jump this year. They added Edmondson to the defense core to fill out that top four. I love what Montreal's lineup looks like on paper going into this season. Now, the big question is, with so many changes, is the chemistry going to be there in a year where you only have basically a week of training camp and you're right into the regular season, and it's a shorter year than normal? I feel like that would be the one big thing to derail this team, would be if the lineup just doesn't gel and all these players don't play well together. But I think the potential is there for Montreal to have a very, very good season.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm excited. It could go anyway. I'm excited for Montreal because watching a team gel is fun, for one.
Yep.
And watching a team not work is kind of fun too, especially when it's not yours.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially you being a Boston fan.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's one of the things that makes this Canadiens team why I'm so excited for them this year, because they could go either way, and no matter which way that goes, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think there's an element to this that almost feels like armchair GM-ish, where you just grab some players, throw them in a pile, and just go out there and see how it works, right? And I kind of root for that.
Yeah, it felt almost like an NHL 21 off season with them. Like, it felt like you were playing GM mode and you're like, well, I can fit him under the cap, so I'll throw him in. I'll make a trade for this guy. And it's like you were playing NHL 21, and like Bergevin actually did it. And if any GM in the NHL is going to do it, Bergevin would be a guy that would do that. But it's going to be really fun to see this team this year.
You have to have the support of your ownership at levels that are absolutely ridiculous to be able to pull something like this off. And he has no reason to think he's ever going to get fired after what's happened in the past.
No, it seems like he's got a job as long as he wants it there.
Exactly. So you might as well sit there, have a few drinks, and see what kind of a team you can put together. The Josh Anderson move alone, like,
I liked the trade, but the contract was wild.
Well, that's what I mean. Who's not going to be? It makes that team so interesting, though.
Oh, yeah.
What Josh Anderson is going to be this year. Could you put more pressure on yourself and a player than, oh yeah, so you just didn't play for a year because you're injured? Here's $6 million on a new team. Go see how that works out for you. Oh, by the way, we want you to play with one of the youngest centers in the league, Nick Suzuki, right? And a guy who's never lived up to his reputation in Jonathan Drouin.
Yeah.
Oh, and that makes it fun. Drouin has no excuse about anything here now. He's got the big
power forward winger in Anderson. He's got the spectacular young center in Suzuki. It's time for Drouin to start doing something.
Yeah, even Tyler Toffoli, he's had an up and down career. In LA, he had a dip, and then he went to Vancouver and he looked like he was rolling. So I don't disagree with the contract at all. But what are we getting from Tyler Toffoli here? There's so many question marks in this lineup. And then on the same note, you can't deny that on paper, it looks way better than it did last year.
Oh, yeah.
And then Joel Edmondson. Joel Edmondson, this is a gamble to me as well. He wasn't able. I know Carolina has a deep defense core and players there, but he didn't make it. Let's put it that way. He just didn't make it. So now we're going to give him $3.5 million for a couple of years and hope he can do Ben Sherratt type stuff. I think that's what they're looking at here.
That's absolutely what they're looking for, is another Ben Sherratt.
Yeah, and so that's like, is that going to happen? I'm rooting for Joel. I mean, nobody's ever, no, you can't say anything bad about Joel Edmondson's game. I just question whether he's a 3-4, but here's your chance, buddy. Yep. And then Alexander Romanov, what's he going to be this year? He played well in the K, obviously, but they're putting a lot. They're basically throwing him right in the lineup, from what I understand.
Yep.
So, yeah, that makes this so exciting. And you're right, Carey Price, all of it. Even with all of it, if some of this doesn't work, whatever. If Carey Price is back to gets an opportunity to be the Vezina goaltender that he is, it might not even matter.
Yeah, he could steal the whole season for the Canadiens if he gets back to like 2015 Carey Price.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it past him to do that. I don't think he was bad anyways. He just
No,
played.
he was overworked, and I think that's why the shortened season is going to be so important for him. And having, for the first time in a while, having a real backup goalie. I
Yeah,
think that Jake Allen trade was a very underrated move by Bergevin to bring in somebody who can play a decent amount of games and take some of that pressure off of Price.
yeah, yeah. And when they first made the move, I missed judge their amount of cap space they had or something, and I had to do two videos. One video I was like, maybe Carey Price is being traded and they're doing a rebuild, and then I had to do another video saying I was an idiot. Don't just throw that one away.
Yeah.
But that was really good. No, that was probably out of all of them, it might have been their most logical move. Like
Yep.
some of them are illogical, just huge gambles, and that's really that's what makes this team fun.
That
There's
makes
huge gambles are fun to watch.
big gambles are always fun for sure. Well, looks like we've reached the time here, but really appreciate you coming on, Pearlo, and talking about this, getting ready for hockey season. I cannot wait for the 13th and to have NHL hockey back on our TV screens. It's going to be fantastic, and glad you could join me here today.
For sure. Just wanted to, I'm pretty excited. Also talking about excited. Uh, I have my first show for SteelFlyers.com going tomorrow.
Yes, Pearlo's got a show. Everyone, make sure you check it out. Pearlo's got a show.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about a lot Columbus Blue Jackets, Winnipeg Jets, and not signing players and why, and New York Islanders with Barzal. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited. I hope you can come join us. If you haven't watched it, also see the GOAT, see John. He's got a page over there as well, and he already did his show, and it's fantastic. So you might want to watch that as well. But I wanted to throw that in there because I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Pearlo and I are both part of the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and we've got big things coming up with Steel Flyers now. We both have shows with the network, and we're going to be doing a lot of great NHL content over there. And yeah,
Jim Jackson just did his first show.
yes, Jim Jackson, commentator for the Philadelphia Flyers, came on the show. And did a Hockey Writers Inc. episode with Steele and Lance as well. So a lot of great things coming. So be on the lookout for all of that. Also, make sure you are subscribed to Pearlo's channel because he does some great videos over there. You'll see me guesting there all the time as well. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe. That helps out so much and is greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one.